So when I think about developing and creating a pulse on this instrument, there's really 4 ideas that I have that I work through and that I've worked on. The first is the ability to keep solid time. If you can't keep basically solid time on this instrument, the pulse will be dramatically affected by it, and it will be very difficult to develop long term over the whole composition or through the whole evening's performance. So when I think about keeping time, I break it down into 2 parts. The first part is meter. Meter is really the BPM, or the beats per minute of the song. When I count the song off, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's the meter. And theoretically, we would start at that meter and play for the rest of the composition, the rest of the song, somewhere around that meter in most cases. I mean, that's what we're trying to do anyway. So here's the issue with that. It is possible to have really pretty decent meter and still have bad timekeeping problems and things that really keep us from developing a definitive pulse here on the instrument. So I'm going to give you an example of that. Here's an example of me playing what I consider a good feeling groove with a solid meter and solid timekeeping and solid pulse here on the drums. Now here's an example of a player that may have pretty decent or pretty solid meter, but still have a fundamental of timekeeping missing that's creating kind of a weaving feeling in there and really stopping a solid pulse from happening. So here's an example of having a couple issues that we still need to deal with in timekeeping. Well, what's missing out of that? It's really the second part of keeping time, which is called subdivision. Subdivision is the ability to bust up those beats into smaller partials or smaller parts. Sometimes 2, sometimes 3, sometimes 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever it is. And the real trick in that is maintaining the consistent spacing between those little parts. My grandmother can play a note on the drums without question. What she can't do is control the space between those notes and create a linear flow of notes or time. So I'm going to give you an example of how to fix this. The primary component in repairing this issue in your playing is a subdivided click of some kind.